Hello everybody and welcome back to Victoria 2, the Supernations mod in our United States of America campaign. As a correction to last episode, this mod is version 1.4, not 1.3 like I said, but otherwise that's it. In other news, we are about to witness the Canadian Revolution over here. We also have some issues as far as intellectuals. I'm almost thinking that we go ahead and try to focus on our soldiers because it's pretty abysmal with how it is right now, and perhaps focus a little bit more on the intellectual side a little bit later on. And regardless, we should get some natural growth of our intellectuals just simply by funding our education. In fact, we can probably see, because their intellectuals are a middle class. So we look at farmers, for example. Let's go to New York. Farmers, let's look at you. They are currently 34.5% likely to promote over to an intellectual pop. 1% promotes to an intellectual each month. And it's only a plus 1%, so they're going to be here anyways, simply because of our education spending. It's also increased because of our literacy rate of the populace, because you can see their literacy rate is 50%, even if our national rate is 43%. Let's also see anything else we can do here. Intellectuals is at least 1.2%. And wait, this population is, what does it say? They're all farmers, that's obvious. It's probably about as much as we can do here. Apparently AI gets a plus 6% bonus there. That's annoying. But anyways, we're going to switch over to soldiers with this. If we go back to New York, it should show that these farmers are now a lot more likely to choose to be soldiers. And also see here that we do not have a lot of soldiers. So let's get some soldiers produced, because we're going to need it for the upcoming battles/wars we're going to be doing. These armies are totally fine, just kind of chilling where they are. So let's go ahead and start progressing as much as we possibly can. And what's going on over here? There's still satellite nations. We'll be getting a notification as soon as the war begins. I have seen it in my little Let's Plays that the UK, or the AI in general, just doesn't seem to know how to invade. And so these two nations, they already have one brigade here. They don't have any. But regardless, the UK AI just doesn't land troops from England and invade it here in Canada. I don't know why the issue is really there, but they just don't. But we'll see if they do it this time. And there we go. Ideological thought has been taken. Let's go for... So that's all good. Romanticism next. So we do want to make sure we manifest destiny. Yeah. So let's move over. I am being super wonky. There we go. We'll take that. And I do want to go for some commerce and industry techs as soon as I can. Army, I will a little bit later on. We'll go ahead and actually start encouraging soldiers in Ohio as well. It is working, albeit a little bit slowly. Our military spending is already all the way up, so there's not really much more we can do regarding this. These are still here. They don't have any armies, which ideally they'll have a few units before the war breaks out, only because if they don't have a single army pop, they're not going to be able to utilize their mobilized brigade capacity. And this is in the way. Let me switch that over just slightly so you can see the ledger here. Hopefully this isn't bugging anybody by blocking anything. There's not really much for it to block. It's kind of a small little video cam for us. So I'm going to wait for this to fire, and as soon as it fires, I'm probably going to have to reload the game. Let's go ahead and create some generals, get our military score up a little bit. For those of you who don't know, whenever you create a leader, it does increase your military score by 1. And so currently our score is 14 because we have 14 generals. Well, generals and admirals, leaders. So we have 14 in total, and that increases it by 14 military points. So whenever you can, just go ahead and click that Create General button. It does help. This is not creating as many soldiers as I thought it would. Interesting. We have lots of these. And for those of you who are wondering why I'm not actually justifying and expanding Use My Infamy, it's because we need it to drop. Right now it's 8.06, and when we do the entire Conquer Mexico, all of Mexico, take all of it, it's going to give us 25 infamy. And so we want to try and make sure that we're below the 30 maximum that we have set here. And as long as we're below the 30, that we're good. But we're going to be getting some infamy rather shortly, and we just want to make sure that we can have the capacity to deal with whatever amount of infamy we do end up taking. We're still not building too much slower. I'm not sure if it's just because I'm expecting to go quicker because I'm used to the game playing quicker. But it is increasing our soldiers just a bit slowly. We could actually go ahead and lower military spending for a bit. It doesn't affect recruiting at all. All it does is affect organization for our armies. Yeah, we receive less supplies, but that doesn't do anything as long as we're not in a war. So, yeah, that's all it does. I don't think it shows their morale. Yeah, the individual units aren't affected. It's just the cohesion of the entire army in general. Has this started? No. Acquire core. What cores do we have on them? Here. Right. I will probably try to stay away from actually declaring war on Britain when the time comes for this little purchase area. Though we might actually be able to do it if they are somewhat distracted with Lower and Upper Canada. Because that's an option. Man, I'm just not used to this going so slow. I'm surprised. What we can do is actually just go ahead and skip it forward slightly until something interesting happens. As in... Oh, like right now. So, open rebellion. It has come to war. Let us quash these Canadian rebels. So we get the event. Beginnings of rebellion. The Canadian rebels have chartered their own declarations of independence. The British Crown have declared them traitors, and open conflict has begun. Ominous. And so, of course, we now have war between, well, the rebellion of 1837. Upper Canada was to declare independence from the British, same with Lower Canada. And of course, the UK was to quash the rebellion of Upper Canada and quash the rebellion of Lower Canada. These are custom wars that I put into the game. Fantastic stuff there. That's me. They have 0 brigades so far. They have 1 brigade, but they will likely be mobilizing. We'll let it play out just slightly. Yeah, now they're mobilizing. I should mobilize rather quickly. The UK is not going to do much of anything, it looks like. So now they have 3 brigades. They have 2, so they do have some army ready to fight, but this might not be getting too much bigger for them. So, unless... They have 3 now. They have 4. So, unless the UK actually gets a fair amount of troops here, they're probably going to lose them all. Well, they have a few over here. So there's no reason why they can't quash the rebellion. Now 5 and 6, maybe it's going to be a little bit more difficult. Of course, we could make the attempt to sphere them. And if we do that, we do have the option of annexing them. It's sort of a long shot, and it's only contingent on them actually surviving the rebellion, but it is there as an option. I would like to get more military. That's going rather slow. Rurality is at 48%, and that does affect our research speed quite directly. And so we need this up to 100% as quick as possible is also a good way to make sure we're getting as much research points as we possibly can. Right now it's at 9.54, so it is increasing. I'm sure that 5% buff did increase it quite a bit as well. So they have 7 brigades, they have 5. It looks like it's how much it's going to stay. So you can tell if you take their populations into account, there's 21,000 upper Canadians who are in rebellion right now. That's like, what, 8% of the population? UK, we're not helping you in this. 8,000 troops there, 21,000 coming. If they fight smart, they could win this. So it really depends. We are not going to ally with you, Mexico. I'm sorry. Not sorry. Because we're going to be taking some land from you later on. That's still 20 out of 12. As far as the rest of the world goes, there's not too much happening. The only other wars is the Messina Jihad. So this is over in Africa, I'm assuming. And Paraguay versus Argentina and Peru. Trying to free Entre Rios, which is interesting. Looks like the Rio Grande, that's all in Portuguese, isn't it? They won the rebellion. Interesting. But Paraguay is probably going to lose this war. I don't see them really coming out on top here. Oh, possibly. I mean, they're not as strong as I thought they were, so it really depends on whether they fight well. You can see Upper Canada is already making inroads into Britain. The army over here is gone. It looks like Upper Canada actually wiped it out. And now you have this English army who is invading Lower Canada. And unless Lower Canada fights them off, they're not going to have a good outcome. And the Kansas-Nebraska Act. Let's go ahead and take care of that. And these guys are supposed to be over here. Combine those armies. It's only 4,000 men right there. I don't think Lower Canada is going to survive this. Though this is a territory, so this isn't going to affect them too much. If you look at their... Yeah, so these are territory provinces, so they're not going to count so much towards the occupation war score. They have 50,000 British over here. It looks like they are landing armies. And so unless we actually decided to directly get ourselves involved and intervene, which probably isn't a great idea, we're not going to be able to help them at all. Looks like the British are colonizing over here. Let's go ahead and increase our relations with Russia and France. And they're probably allies, aren't they? Russia and France. Yep. They're always allies. And request from Mr. X from Canada. Of course, we'll give that to you. And so I was talking about last episode how Victoria 2 is interesting in the fact, and I think a lot of the other Paradox games as well sort of have this issue, but it runs on a single core. And what that means is that a lot of these newer processors nowadays have multiple cores. Like I think my processor, for example, has 8 cores. So Victoria 2 only uses what, like 13% processor capacity, and that's its max. It can't run anymore. And so even though my computer can run it a lot better, it just the game isn't optimized for the computer. Hence why running is the issue as far as time, where the game should be going like 8 times faster. I just can't. So it's kind of frustrating in a way, and it's something that I'm actually super excited with Victoria 3 about, because I'm assuming that they will fix the issue. I don't see why they wouldn't. Parator Rome runs fantastically on my computer. Same with most of the other Paradox games. It's just Victoria 2, just not optimized. Looks like they're fighting the British down here. Is that going to do anything? They're not going to chase the army. But honestly, I'm super excited too, because it seemed like when they were talking about Victoria 3 that they were planning on actually, let's get this right, change the combat system. And so the early game combat is going to be drastically different compared to the later game combat. Because of course the end of Victoria 2 encompasses part of the period of what is World War I. And so combat evolves to the degree where, I mean, even like if you guys are playing Victoria 2, you can see, I'm not going to do that. Let's do realism. I could wait. I've already clicked it. That's fine. You have massive army stacks. Like the US, for example, could potentially have army stacks of like 500 brigades. Not army stacks, but like they'll have 500 brigades they can support that they'll have in the field. And managing armies like that can get pretty, what's the word? Just takes a while, a long time to do that. But with Victoria 3, for example, I'm assuming that they're going to make it a lot more like Hearts of Iron 4 plays. Have like command groups or whatnot, be able to command not just individual units, but entire fronts in one click. Like you can still min-max, obviously, but I'm assuming. But I like the idea that they might be going for. At least that's how I imagine it is. And I hope so. That's how it will be, and I hope that we'll actually be able to have army templates. I'm assuming that's what it's going to be. I mean, EU4 does that, and it's a great system. So, I mean, we'll see. Obviously, there's a lot of speculation going on what is going to happen. So, hopefully. I'm also hoping it's not drastically different from Victoria 2 to the point where I'm, like, relearning an entire game, because that would be annoying. But, of course, being a Victoria 2 and even a Paradox veteran, I think I have clocked in at least 1,200 hours on Victoria 2 alone. And probably even more than that. I mean, compared to the amount of time I've spent modding it as well, I've probably spent 1,500 hours or so on the game itself. Which, I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of people out there who've spent thousands of hours more than even me playing a Paradox game, but I'm still proud. 1,500 hours is pretty good. So, but Victoria 3 is obviously going to be a lot different. I mean, we're considering the fact that Victoria 2 came out, in 2010? And the last expansion was 2013 with Hearts of Darkness. It's been, and by the time they release Victoria 3, it'll probably be mid-2022, mid-next year. And as will likely be the case, elections, the game will have a lot more capacity to do better. including a lot of things that Paradox has learned from other games. And it's just going to probably feel like a completely different game. So it'll be a learning curve for Victoria 2 fans, probably. If you've stayed up to date playing a lot of Paradox games, I think we'll see a lot of similarities. Especially the Hearts of Iron 4. I feel like there's going to be a lot of similarities there, but I haven't really played Hearts of Iron 4. I've definitely watched a lot of videos about it, so I have a basic concept of what all happens in it. I can't say I'm a big, like, oh no, the rebellion squashed. After intense fighting in much of the Canadian East, the United Kingdom has wiped out the last of the resistance in Lower Canada. The rebellion is no more. We won't be seeing Lower Canada or Upper Canada here, folks. Not this playthrough. But it does happen, I can say that. In my test run, it did happen. But anyways, and also the super cool thing that they're doing is with the whole splitting up the days and whatnot. I don't think we can intervene because they have, yeah, because they added a war goal. So there's no way to intervene in the first place. But they split the days down into 4 units. I originally thought it was 5 because I saw the speed tick, but somebody commented on my announcement video for Victoria 3, International Crisis in Pakistan. That doesn't matter to me. That it's actually just the speed. So big dumb move on my part. Let's actually focus on the Liberal parties for now. Clay and Douglas draft and go ahead and activate that. We are not supporting anybody in this. But the days are divided into 4 segments. And so, right now, of course, we're doing day-by-day basis. But the whole 4 segments thing is sort of like a balance between the day-by-day system and the hourly system that Hearts of Iron 4 uses. But it also increases sort of the scope and scale of the game, because Victoria 2 can seem rather short. The only reason it takes as long as it does is because the days move so dang slow because of the whole, like I was explaining earlier, the whole core processor thing. But of course, Victoria 2 is not going to have that issue. I hope, I imagine. But the entire thing behind that is that our game's going to feel 4 times as long because we're experiencing it by a 4 or in morning, afternoon, evening, midnight, I assume, night type of sort of thing. Which is gonna be super cool because we'll be able to see, or we'll be able to control our armies a lot more, and like, because sometimes I look at this, and especially if they have if they break down these provinces a little bit more, which I do assume they're doing, because it seems like every single state will have about 8 provinces in them. Ooh, Wisconsin can be a state. Meaning that someplace like here, for example, we have South Carolina with only 2 provinces. It'll instead have 8 provinces, which is super cool. And it's all from like the Reddit posts. I don't know if you guys have all seen it, but there's a Reddit post made the day Victoria 2 or 3 was announced that basically went super, like, sort of in depth. It was a really long post about everything going on in Victoria 3, about like what the basic systems are. And in this case, they were talking about how each state will have about 8 provinces or more. And so, but a lot of it you won't be able to directly control. It's more for armies to move around. But of course, you can't expect, like, at some point in the late game, even Victoria 2, you can see armies moving across provinces, especially in Europe. If you go to Europe, they're moving across provinces like in a day. And you imagine that sometimes, like, you probably get across the country a lot quicker than going through every single province in only 1 day. And so this whole new 4-tick days of Victoria 3, honestly, I'm super stoked about. We can totally build some more armies. I'm going to go ahead and see if we can do that. Let's get a Dragoon here. And we have an extra infantry unit in this army. I'm thinking of taking out, and we'll do a small stack. Do 1 more infantry and then do 2 artillery. Something like that. And I'm pretty sure Upper Canada is going to be gone here. Conservancy clear victory. Good for them. Well, they're at 13%. The army is still fighting, though, and they're picking off some of the small stacks. So maybe Upper Canada will survive this. Who knows? They can. -5 battles on the British side. They just lose. What is this? They added a Wargle? Acquire Lower Canada? Oh, right. Wait a second. Upper Canada, Lower Canada. Did I make these names backwards? I think I made the names backwards, guys. This is Upper Canada. This is Lower Canada. In my mind, when I was making the mod, I was like, oh, Upper Canada. Up. Lower Canada. Down. Lower. I think I switched the names around. I probably need to go fix that. My bad. Of course, this playthrough, we might encounter some bugs that won't be in the finished patch, even though I am recording it, but there should be small things. You'll be seeing all the content. I'm expecting there to be some localization errors I'm going to have to iron out, but that's pretty much it. Yeah, okay, I think they are about done here. There's no way. Especially if they go for Montreal. They have 7 units still, though. We need to have 21,000 units. So they can still fight. Let's go and get another... Let's get a Dragoon in that army that we're building. Oh! Rio Grande's rebelling. We have a truce already. No. But it's here. But... That's interesting. I thought they would activate a rebellion. We could try spearing them, maybe. Let's get rid of Upper Canada. Upper Canada's a lost cause at this point. There's no way they're gonna pull that out. Those Altos, was that there before? I think it was. Yeah, they were. Rio Grande was an ally. Though, even though normally I might, because the direction of our campaign involves us taking all of Mexico, having the Rio Grande here might actually be detrimental as far as annexing the entire territory. Granted, I'm pretty sure I have it in the mod as well, where you can still annex them if you have them sphered and whatnot after the Civil War takes place. It's not a big of an issue, but I'm not going to risk it. It's fine. What I'm waiting for is actually for the Yucatan to spawn in. In my little test run I did, I didn't exactly include the Yucatan so much in there because I had done the war with Mexico so darn quick. So this time I'm thinking of sort of being a little bit slower about it. Likely not be going to war against Mexico until about 1846, 1847, after Yucatan has already, declared its independence. Because I want you guys to be able to see the whole Yucatan thing. I've modded it to the game. They should be taking this rather soon. They took Montreal. They're getting taken war score too. The Upper Rebellion is quashed again. After intense fighting, much of the Canadian East, the United Kingdom has wiped out the last of the resistance in Upper Canada. The rebellion is no more. There we go. Upper Canada, Lower Canada, no longer a thing. Rebellion is gone. Sad day. It's expected though. If a player is playing the UK, that's the likely result. Like the Upper Canada, Lower Canada are not strong enough. Even if the US intervened, it's likely would have done or changed their clause too much, and would have only damaged the US. But regardless, it's an interesting flavor thing you can see happen. But at this point, there's a random army in our territory. Strange. It'll probably disappear as soon as we reload the game. But anyways, we're going to cut this episode here. thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.
As always, please leave a like down below and consider subscribing if you would like to see more content just like this, more frequent uploads. If you have any suggestions, go ahead and leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys next time.